Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Scott Roberts from Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance. It's day 3 of the Astronomical League's AstroCon in Overland Park, Kansas. And one of the big speakers there is actor and amateur astronomer Tim Russ. Kent Martz is with him right now. And Kent, I'm going to turn him over to you.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you getting us going here. If you are a Star Trek fan, you know this gentleman sitting next to me, Tim Russ, had a number of roles, and not going to go into details, but my favorite role that he played, and if you go back, one of the best space movies of all time, Spaceballs, and you go back to that movie and watch, he speaks the second favorite line in that movie. The first one is "May the Schwartz be with you," said in a Mel Brooks accent, and the second one is when a trooper is sent out to comb the desert for I don't remember what, and they asked him, he had a giant comb that he's combing the desert with, and he said, he replied back with an extremely eloquent comment, "We ain't found blank," and fill in the blank. But a fantastic comment. So, a great actor and in the Star Trek world, one of the greats. He's also an amateur astronomer, and that's why he's here at the Astronomical League Convention in Overland Park in Kansas City Metro. And I want to talk about your astronomy life.
Yeah.
You're not an astronomy major in high school or college, no degree. You're an actor. Tell us about what happened.
And it was basically out of the blue. I mean, I've always been fascinated with space science to begin with, and ever since I was even younger. And so I decided at one point in my early 30s, I thought, I'm going to go out and get a small, telescope, easy to use, sort of a wide field 4 engineer or something like that. And I'm going to go take it out to Valley back home and take a look and see if I can find these planets that were up. And I did that. I went and looked for, at the time, Saturn. I looked through the telescope and saw Saturn, and I was just absolutely blown away that I could actually see Saturn through an eyepiece of a telescope. And that was the first experience I had in looking through an actual telescope that I owned myself, that I took out and decided to go look at the night sky. And I was hooked. After that, I was hooked.
And how was that journey? Did you go into astrophotography?
No.
Or were you always visual?
Yeah, I was primarily visual. And all I did from that point, like anyone else, is they're going to start buying bigger and bigger telescopes. I immediately started investing in larger, more powerful telescopes to go out and look at objects besides the planet. So once I got the planets and the moon out of the way, started looking for everything from clusters to open clusters to globulars to double stars, things like that. And then from that point went out and got a larger Dobsonian and started looking for galaxies and nebulae, things like that.
So where are you living at this point in your
Right
life?
now I live in Los Angeles.
Now then, when you started this
Back
journey,
then I was still in LA.
okay, you're still in LA.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing this from light polluted LA 35 years ago.
Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and if they've got far, to try farther and farther and farther.
Yeah, go out in the Mojave, Anza Borrego State Park.
Joshua Tree.
So what are you doing now? You've progressed into the smart telescope,
Right.
With a unistellar,
Yes.
specifically.
Right.
How did that come about?
Well, it came about from a public star party that I was attending through the Los Angeles Astronomical Society. We're up at Griffith Observatory.
And you remember that?
Yes, I am a member of the Astronomical Society in LA, and they brought a unistellar up there to demo it, which was a very smart move. They were demoing this thing, and I went over there, had my scope set up on the other side, and went over and somebody told me, "Hey, you got to see this other telescope." And I said, "Let me go check it out." And he had the Ring Nebula in this thing. I looked in the eyepiece, and I that was it. Once again, it was yeah.
Lift your jaw back up.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I didn't know anything about the particulars of this scope, how it worked otherwise. And I said, "What is that, and where can I get it?"
Mhm.
And at the time, it was only a prototype. It had not been. They were trying to raise the money, Kickstarter.
So you were an early adopter.
Yeah. So I I just kept track of the company, kept in contact with them. I said, "When you get this thing ready, I want to take a look at it. I want to see if I can." I talked to them about it when they finally did come out with the telescope, the prototype, the EV scope on the first one. And I said, look, I can promote this thing with the Astronomical Society in Los Angeles. I've got a fairly decent profile as an actor for Star Trek, so I can promote it via that vehicle. And they thought it was a good idea. So they went and sent me one and we checked it out and worked on it. Then we traded off for the EV Scope 2, and that's what I have today.
Mhm.
And I take that to all the public star parties and break it out and demo this thing, and people are absolutely blown away, just blown away.
So when you go out and demo one of it's the sun goes down.
Yep.
Do they realize, I say once the sun goes down, it doesn't matter. It's just what you know is the important thing, right? Do they know they're talking to somebody that's, a Star Trek famous person, or are you just another guy out there with a telescope that's preaching night sky?
For the majority of people there, I'm just an astronomer,
Yeah.
an amateur astronomer with my telescope. Once in a while, you will get somebody who recognizes it from the show. But the majority of people are just the public who's never, in many cases, never looked through the eyepiece of a telescope.
Mhm. And
That's what's remarkable.
that when somebody looks at the eyepiece of a telescope for the first time and sees, for me, it's almost always the moon and Saturn.
Right.
Jupiter doesn't do it. It's not a stunner.
Not as much
But-
as Saturn.
Yeah, and sadly, we're going to lose the rings of Saturn for a period of time because
It's
Saturn-
tilted straight across.
and the rings are going to disappear from our line of sight for a while.
It'll be like,
Yeah.
what is it, 6, 7, cycle 7 years, isn't it?
Yeah, 7 years of, it goes 7 years, 7
Mm,
years,
7
7
years.
years, 14-year cycle.
Yeah,
So it's always good to see them and they'll have an emotional reaction to Saturn or craters of the moon, cry, hyperventilate kind of thing. It's just I get
they're in
rushed,
awe. They can't even believe what they're seeing,
right?
and that's through, not even a big fancy telescope, just a simple optical telescope,
Mhm.
medium price, telescope. You can see all kinds of things with that, and people don't realize how simple it is. It's
Yeah.
not that complicated,
It's like catching fish. You got to learn how to cast and tie knots and things.
Yeah,
Once you learn that,
done.
you're fishing.
You're
Right,
fishing.
you're
Yeah,
fishing.
yeah.
So you showed a PowerPoint. You talked to you. All the pictures I saw were unistellar photos. Talk about what some of those pictures were, and then talk about the citizen science aspect of this.
Well,
That
the
you get
images
to-
that I had, that I presented today were deep sky objects, mostly galaxies, nebulas, and there was a globular cluster in there as well. They're pretty famous Messier objects, almost all of them. And I wanted to work to tell everybody about the citizen science program with the EV Scope 2. Their program allows you to participate in projects that NASA may be working on, or that enlighten you to things that are happening that you can actually, like a mission. You can go out and you can actually image this exoplanet transit, for example. They'll list this exoplanet transit that's happening XX time, and you can set your telescope up and you can actually track an exoplanet, planet around another star. And they'll download the data from that, and then they'll send you back the light curve from that exoplanet transit, so you can actually see it.
So you did the asteroid.
I did the
And-
asteroid.
You had a video where it's locked on the asteroid, so the asteroid's moving, but the telescope's moving, so it looks like the background stars are moving.
Yes,
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And it blinks out.
Yep.
And then comes back. But they showed you the light curve that you added to their base of knowledge. And that was because you happen to live in the exact right spot to do this.
where the
right?
shadow of that asteroid crossing the path of the star and causing a shadow, just like the eclipse does on the
Mhm.
Earth. It's just a tiny thin shadow as it goes across, and I was right over Los Angeles, like literally right over my house. I think it was so. And I only had to go a block away to go ahead and get it, just to get out of the trees. But ultimately, that's what it was, the occultation, and NASA was using it. The people with the EV Scope 2s, there's several other people that also got it, and they were using us to be able to tell the approximate shape of the Trojan
That's cool.
Jupiter's
Yeah.
Jupiter's orbit.
Right.
Yeah,
And so by the way it works is because they can measure the changes based on time from a telescope over here and a telescope over
Exactly.
here. And from that, they can start to plot out the shape
shape of the
that
asteroid.
based on the shadow that it
They
casts.
cast on. Yeah,
And so, if you just have a telescope like this behind us and a camera, and you want to do science, you have to know who to contact and
right.
you got to set up the campaign and know with
All that stuff.
interstellar project,
It's already
it's
there.
baked into the DNA. You
Sure.
go to citizen science, you pick your program, you sign up for it. They say, hey, go do this. You take your telescope
Yeah.
out, if it's clear, and go do this.
And you go do that. Yeah.
And when a paper comes out, you get cited as an author or contributing author on the papers that come out as well. It's
Absolutely.
very cool. So,
Very cool.
so what do you get out of it?
Well, so first of all, there's the fascination with science, space science in general. And to me, the hands-on use of telescope, instrument itself, and the chance to use that with the eyepiece and to discover, these different objects. For example, like I mentioned before earlier, what's really exciting to me is when we have these once in a lifetime events, Shoemaker Levy 9, for example, or a comet that's coming by that's a long period comet or something, and it's a special thing. A supernova. We have one we're waiting for right now in Corona Borealis, right?
Every night, people are out looking.
Waiting for this to
Waiting.
pop, waiting for it to pop. And I am too. And if I can see it, if it's the right time and I'm in the happens and I got a shot at it right now, we can see it in summer skies. So if it happens, I could get it, when I got home tomorrow, I could try to pop it. So I've already got one supernova that I got in the Pinwheel Galaxy just 2 or 3 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And that kind of thing. When you know where it is, you can target the target, you can go to the target and get it. That's a special event. And that's, to me, is the most exciting celestial sort of adventure that you can go on, because these things can happen and you want to be ready with the equipment and the gear to be able to observe them in real time.
Right.
Yeah.
And take your own pictures
And
and
take your own.
contribute to science. Take your pictures on your phone or your tablet.
That's right.
Science and then go on your social media feed and say, hey, you've been to star parties. They look at Saturn for how many seconds?
Yeah.
And then out comes the smartphone and then try and take a picture of it.
Every single time. It's like, can I take it out through the app? No.
Well, yes, you can, but it's very difficult.
You'll be there all day and I got a line of people behind you.
So one thing we've done is we've started, if it's gonna be a bunch of people there, having a telescope over there for you to go try to do that over there
Oh,
while we
yes.
all look through the eyepiece.
I see what
Because everybody wants to share on social media,
what they looked at through the eyepiece.
download the app on their smartphone.
Yeah, and it's impossible.
And
Doesn't
on,
work that
and on the Unistellar products, 10 devices can be hooked up to that. You can be controlling it. 9 other people can get on and take pictures.
Yep.
Instantly share it to their social media.
Instantly share it.
It's fantastic.
It
they
works
can
just
do that.
fine.
Yeah.
In some cases, I'll just take the cell phone and go, here, take a picture.
Take a picture of this
Click up, yeah, it looks the same.
because they don't have to download the
Yeah,
app.
yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, your day is, I don't want to take any more up of your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for being an evangelist for astronomy
Yeah.
and using the pulpits you have to spread the word. It's fantastic.
Anytime that I can,
Yeah.
continue to do so.
Yeah. I appreciate you very much for your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for giving us some joy on the screens to bring us in
Oh, yeah.
a bit of not reality that turns into reality.
Oh, boy.
Smartphone, the guys like inspired by the telecommunicator. Guys have come up with medical devices inspired by bones, by bones.
Yeah.
So,
And it's not gonna stop.
no, it's just gonna.
No.
It's gonna stop. It's gonna keep going.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
the thing. I mean, today, when I was growing up, the technological plateaus, technology would reach a plateau and then would just stay there like this.
Mhm.
Or stay like that for, a long time. And never went anywhere. Now it's just one straight line like this.
Yeah,
It's
constant.
constantly going up and it is not gonna stop. And all we can do is reap the benefits from, especially in this field of study, in astronomy, the benefits of the new technology. EV scope 2, moving up to the next version, to the next version, the next version.
What does 10 years look like on?
What
I
does
mean, yeah.
Lightning 5, I'll give you
5.
5 at this rate,
Yeah.
right? They're not gonna sit still. 1 year, they've already got the Odyssey,
Right.
next model, in 1 year.
And have you seen the enhanced reality binoculars they're working on?
Yeah, I saw the binoculars. I did not know what they were going to do.
You're in
What they were,
We're in a shot. We're live right now.
oh yeah,
Okay.
okay, there in a minute.
Yeah.
Just be a second.
Yeah.
The binoculars, what is it there? So it's gonna be similar to the EV scope in some sense.
Well, it's image stabilized.
Stabilized,
You
right?
hang them up, it's GPS. It does an overlay on it that says, here's the Turtle Creek Canyon Trail, and this is Mount whatever, and that's the hill that's this many thousand feet, and over here is State Highway.
That's all gonna be
16.
in the eyepiece?
Binoculars.
Inside the eyepieces that
Yeah.
they're looking.
Yeah. So enhanced reality they have a Kickstarter going on right now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, that's their next thing, isn't it?
that's their next thing and they're gonna
So
make.
that's what it is.
it's
So it's
work.
gonna be used. Is it also for for space, or is it
I do
mostly
not know that.
terrestrial?
I do not know that.
'Cause
Oh,
that's,
it is. It is.
Yes.
It is
Scott
for
says
space.
It is. Yeah.
so it's terrestrial
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. So it does an overlay. You look up at the sky, it does an overlay and tells you what's in the sky.
it's like the
Yes.
HUD in a jet cockpit.
Or it's like a virtual
Reality.
or the Google Glass where they had that enhanced.
And they have the stuff going on.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
I'll have to, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if I
Yes.
don't know if I need those or not. I
Yes,
mean,
everybody needs a pair.
I do like the image stabilizing. That I do.
Yeah.
The image stabilizing is, because the Canon came out with them a long time ago and I did try them and they were amazing.
Yeah. And
I
the
mean, that
new,
was amazing.
the new image, it's like everything else. A couple of years, it gets better. A
Yeah.
couple of years, it gets better.
Have you looked at
again.
new ones that
Yeah,
are
we've got
image
some new
stabilizers?
ones that are just,
I mean, you can
it's
just
crazy.
just
Yeah,
just
it's
this, and
crazy.
it's like you're looking at a picture, like a photo, it's like still.
Yeah. You know, the binoculars that I've really, and I used a set of them last year at the Nebraska Star Party.
Right.
They're 50 mm, 2.5 power or 2.1 power binoculars.
Hmm.
And it's astounding how much you can see with 2 power binoculars
Huh,
that you can't see with your own eye. I mean, it's constellation scale,
right.
but it's so
They're super
cool.
wide, right?
Yeah, they're super wide.
Super wide.
And then low power, but you know,
But those are the ones that I prefer.
yeah,
I mean, I use sometimes 7x35s.
Yeah.
Because you can, first of all, hold them and they're not doing all this.
yeah, 2.1 by 50s.
Oh, that's crazy. man.
Yeah, they are.
That's
And
crazy.
Yeah.
and skies, it makes, what I was really impressed with was how in you know, Nebraska Star Party's Border 1, you know,
Yeah.
very dark.
Portal, yeah.
And there's nothing around it. There's one city 30 miles away of 2,000 people.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that ain't doing
there's nothing, right? And the dark nebula stood out, you know, impressively. Normally I struggle to see dark nebula.
Yeah.
This was like, wow, look at that.
Wait a minute, you're
Really-
talking about, like, if you're looking at above Sagittarius.
Yes.
Which is
Yeah,
the main part where the eagle and all.
the
of those-
horse. And, you know,
You
the
can
dark
still
horse.
see I mean, are you seeing the dark lanes in those W's or are these
Yeah,
just?
it's like there's an area I always heard about, never seen. It's called the dark horse, or the black horse, just to the west of the Milky Way coming out of
Right, to the
Sagittarius.
west?
And it looks like a horse, a black horse up there in the sky. And I'd never seen it before.
I'm not seeing
And
that.
I put these up and I went, oh,
There
wow.
it is. There it
Yeah.
is. This is what you were talking about,
If
Cap.
there's a pair of them.
You see how,
They're like minion eyes.
I've seen those. I
Yeah.
have seen those and I've used them. They are
Yeah,
remarkable.
that's well, now
Yeah.
you know, guy.
They are amazing. How much those things run?
Are those the Vixen ones, Scott?
I think they're like a couple $100, something like
I've
that.
seen
Yeah, these
those.
are the Vixen ones.
I did look through a pair of those. They're
Really
amazing.
well made, you
My
know.
God, I mean, you know a guy.
Yeah, okay,
You
yeah.
know a
Yeah,
guy.
you know a guy.
Okay, I may
Yeah.
drop a few bucks.
You know a
Just
guy.
because they're really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel Joyce says, never mind, Scott.
Uh,
That's a spot picture. Anyway,
That's Mercury at the lower left.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
that's-
filter though? You got H alpha.
No,
It's
not.
white light.
It's white light.
It's just, that's a white light. filter.
That's a white light filter? And you got that kind of
Here, let's-
detail.
And
on
what's special about these, is that I had
Hang on, I'm showing you.
our engineering team make filter holders to screw in standard size nebula filters. So you can use like O3 filters on these.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that makes them really cool. So,
Yeah, this
So-
is an H alpha.
This is what's cool. People are walking up and pulling out their phones and sharing images. So, yeah, cool. So anyway, you got plenty of things. Sir, we can talk forever and I
thank
appreciate
you. Thank you so much.
it.
I have used those. I tried them. I don't remember where it was, but I did try them now, because as soon as you brought them out, I said, oh, wait a minute, I know what those are.
Yeah, they're very obvious when you see
And
them.
And you're right, they are really cool. I mean, I was just using them terrestrially in the daytime. I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell? This is like the whole,
At night,
it's so
at
weird.
night. So, Scott, we'll go ahead and shut
Okay,
down.
okay. Tim, thank you. Thank you very much.
Give me the space
And
for a while.
we want to thank the audience for tuning in. And we'll be back with more, maybe one or two more interviews
That's correct, Scott.
at the 2024 ALCon.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and there are people here to interview, let me tell you right now.
Yeah.
I was such a
I know
thrill.
that's what you're pointing